All right, thanks for watching, you guys. This is going to be an upper body workout that's going to be shoulders, back, and then some arms at the end. I do add some new exercises in this one, so kind of stay tuned for that. As always, I put the links down below to equipment that I recommend that's similar to what I have, if not cheaper, and also available on Amazon. And you'll also see the link down below too for the routine that I follow if anyone's new to this channel and is curious kind of what routine I'm basically following. But as you guys know, if anyone's new to this channel, I try and keep these things very, very simple as far as not making the exercises too complex and using very simple, minimal equipment that I think gets really good results for the time and effort and things that you need. So that's why you can see it's very little nook I have in my house that I really kind of like this setup. It's nothing too complicated, nothing too grandiose. So with that, I'm just going to get into it and start talking about some of these exercises. This is one that's fairly, I think I've shown this one time before, but I'm really using it a little bit more where I'm doing this row from the back end of the machine. And you can see I'm posting my foot in there. You can, again, put some sort of a dumbbell on that. I really like those power blocks because, again, they don't roll around so much like a traditional dumbbell. I also have the bungees attached, so with this Weider Ultimate Body Works machine, they have the bungee cables to attach onto that, but you could do that as well with a total gym. Then you're seeing me kind of do these standing presses, and these two exercises that jump back for roughly about 5 sets. I just keep these things kind of going, and then I'll actually insert, I think I do some lateral crunches on this one, or just some side bends on this one too. I don't really worry about abdominals too much. I just like doing side bends sometimes just because I feel like they just feel good. That's why I like doing them, so that's why I throw them in there from time to time. And I like this one a lot, this standing shoulder press, just because I just feel like for some reason, I think it's less stressful on the shoulders. Starting down below, you need a little bit lower weight, but that's why I like doing those standing presses. You also get to work the core a little bit more as well. On these kind of back end rows, whenever you're using the back end of the machine, you can't see it now, but the only problem with this is the cable where it's going on that rudder can kind of come off the track. So you kind of have to be diligent in watching it that you're pulling down. Otherwise, if you kind of go over it, it can actually go over the little wheel and it gets caught and stuck. So that happened, I think, twice during this workout. But again, I'm just kind of changing things up a bit. Whether this was really worth doing, it's definitely a different type of tension. So if it makes more sense to just go on this sled, that's going to be up to you. Again, this press, just shoulder press, again, I recommend for a lot of people. I start going a little bit heavier. I think I get to roughly around, I want to say 60 pounds on each arm at one point in one of these sets, and then I eventually kind of go down. I'm like, it's kind of enough. It's harder, as you can obviously see. It started sitting in a machine, standing up with that weight, but I think it's a good payoff, and so I always like kind of doing that. You'll notice that I keep using that same weight, then I just kind of put the heavier weight back on the machine as far as the total gym's concerned. I mess around with kind of turning. I switch the cables here a little bit. This is one where you might need to do a little more reps more than usual, and a few times during these sets I eventually start doing just some holds and kind of working more on that tension as I'm doing these pulls. So you're going to see the sequence kind of stretch out for a while, so I'm not going to talk throughout this whole sequence. I'll jump back in when things start changing a little bit. But for the most part, I just try to, again, I keep these same exercises kind of constant, and then eventually I kind of interplay them with some other random things, I think, with the obliques. And I think in a future workout, I want to just show you guys what I would call just like a freestyle workout, where I just would literally, I'm jumping around to everything, which what I used to traditionally do before I started kind of recording these workouts for you guys. So again, that's it. I'll kind of jump back in once I start switching things up a bit. All right, just to jump in really quick a little bit sooner, I just want to say something about these side bends. This was actually a little bit heavier than I would have normally. I like to kind of grab like 40 or 45. I think this was like 60 when I started doing it, so not as comfortable as I usually like it, but I just like the way these feel. I'm not really trying to work my obliques so much. Well, I guess you are, but I just like the way these feel. But the big thing to focus on when you're doing these side bends is kind of full extension on the other side and a nice full contraction on each side. Some people tend to kind of shorten these repetitions. I also like to make sure I'm in a nice straight line. So my shoulder blades are retracted and I'm going in a straight line down one side and a straight line back up on the other side. start to kind of switch things up a little bit here, but I still kind of add a few things into this little set, these little sequence of sets here. But just some traditional frontal raises here. I actually love doing these with the power blocks in kind of like a hammer fashion where you're holding this neutral grip doing these frontal raises. So I haven't done these in a while, so it just felt good to kind of throw them in the mix a little bit. But pretty much this sequence, I kind of stick with doing some frontal raises. You'll see me then going into some bent over rows with the dumbbells, and then I do I go back to those oblique lateral raises, and then you'll actually see me, which I'll jump back in when I do it, some kneeling kind of a lateral raise using the Total Gyms or Total Body Works, whatever you're using. So kind of look at these frontal raises. You can check out. I don't think it's a big deal if you kind of sway and kind of lean into one side if you're just kind of focusing on the muscle when you're doing it. So I know it looks like I'm leaning a little bit, but the weight, using that hammer grip, I feel like it's more conducive to doing that. And then bent over rows. If you had to sub these out, I know a lot of people have trouble kind of keeping this angle in the back. If you have a hard time doing that, record yourself, look how it looks, and then maybe if you can't do that, then just do it on the Total Gym as a nice little different exercise. So this is that lateral raise. Basically, I just kind of go kneeling and get a little more higher on the sled, making sure my palms are facing down. I'm just doing basically a lateral raise. And this is one where I think you'll see some sets where I'll grab sometimes the other handle so it kind of crosses my body a little bit more. I tried a couple different variations just to kind of mix things up, but I went back and get this one. I think it feels the most comfortable. For most people, even for myself, I could have maybe gone a notch lower on this machine. You don't really want to make this thing too hard. You don't want to kind of grind out these reps because it can be easy to kind of cheat these. So it's up to you how high you want to make this. But this is something else I essentially just start throwing into this sequence with the frontal raises. And then after this set, you'll see again, I'm just to kind of hit the back a little bit more. I just feel like I wanted to. You'll see me kind of pepper in some of these Total Gym pull-ups. I've always said this many times that this just always feels like a good exercise. It's one that I think can just be a nice staple throughout all your workouts as far as just working the back. And then I start doing this crunch. I've shown this in some of my good core exercises to do with the Total Gym or a Weider Total Body Works. And to be honest, I did this one set and I'm like, I just didn't like it for whatever reason. I feel like you can definitely work your abdominals. I'm not too worried about really strength training the abdominals through direct flexing like this, but it's not a bad exercise. It's just I just wasn't feeling it for whatever reason, so I tried it this way. You'll see me kind of spin around to try the other way, and wasn't really feeling that as well. So I mean, I was working it, but to me, it just was one of those things where it wasn't worth my effort for that day. So I do this one set and then I kind of delete it. You guys might like it. You might want to do more of these. It's up to you. So that's going to be up to you guys if you want to keep doing that. Alright, so this is what's going to start kind of the final sequence here. I'm just doing a rear fly. I always say this is one of the most underrated and one of the best exercises you can do, whether you're going to use a total gym or just use some sort of, just use dumbbells, light dumbbells, and just do these. I mean, these are muscles that are weak in most people. They're kind of lengthened in most people, kind of sitting at desk jobs all day. So a really important, often neglected exercise that is, I think, one of the top 10, if top 5 exercises most people should do. Now this is new. I started messing around doing some curls. I think I just stick with this actually. This felt pretty good. This is just using the bungee cables. And I'm supporting my feet so the thing doesn't fly up at me, but I'm using bungee cables. If you guys are using a total gym, you guys could attach some other external resistance bands on there as well. But I tried just some few different angles, and this is just me doing a basic curl using the bungee weight, and it felt pretty good. Eventually you notice when I'm pulling it, I think I'll do a couple double arm ones. You'll see it's later sets where I really have to pull to get that sled to come even higher. So that tension, just because the bungee weights are there, you really feel that tension in your biceps. So I did a few reps where I would just kind of hold double, so I'll switch alternated. If you kind of paused it here, you can see I'm not really getting it all the way. I could still pull more, but it took a lot more effort. So I kind of like the way that felt, especially as I start adding in some more sets with this one. So this is definitely a exercise I never did before. So this is, again, if you guys watch these videos, I always kind of I try to at least throw some new things in there, but also try some new things all the time. And then again, I just kept it to make it simple. Just did tricep extensions on this side. And again, I feel like it felt really well. It was a good kind of line of action where that tension's coming from the triceps. So again, these two things kind of back to back were some really good kind of arm sequence that you guys could incorporate into your workouts. And that's pretty much it. So you'll see this sequence kind of go on where I'm just going to go from rear flies to this bicep curl, tricep extension. You'll see me mess around, try to do a couple different subtle things between each set, just in the way I'm kind of pulling it or holding reps and things like that. But that's pretty much the sequence. I think I do throw in another pull-up in there as well. If you guys got questions, just let me know. Anything, again, any preferences of exercises, workouts, or videos you guys want to see or me comment on, always let me know. It's always helpful if you guys like these videos. It's immensely helpful. If you guys subscribe to the channel, it's always helpful, or share this content. This workout went a little bit longer, so as always, you see me messing around between sets. I don't edit those in there. So while this workout goes on, I think for roughly 40-ish minutes, as far as like the run time, if you look at the clock in the background, you could bust this out really quickly. So the advantage of you guys getting these edited workouts is that you should be able to kind of get the gist of them and then not have to think about what to do. Like, we're between sets and I'm wasting some time messing around with some things. So hopefully that's helpful and just saving you guys some time in your overall workout. But as always, I always say this is a great machine if you just want to be lazy. I mean, definitely you're getting a workout. Definitely when I'm doing this stuff, I'm sweating and working, but I really don't. It feels very easy because I'll get a set in, kind of meander around, listen to something in the back. I'm always listening to something in the background or watching something, so the time just kind of goes by. If anything, I could probably always do more work on here if I wanted to. So again, that's what I like about this. It's hard to really overtrain this machine. I can't say it's impossible, but it's pretty hard to overtrain this machine. I don't say this enough, but if something's bothering you, like if an exercise is kind of like nagging at your elbow or a joint feels weird, it's a good sign. Just don't force that exercise. Just switch up to something else. I know it seems obvious, but a lot of people do that, myself included. Will kind of force in a exercise or a set, whatever, but just skip to something else. So that's it, you guys. I know I'm kind of rambling here at the end. As always, thanks for watching.